Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Dvoid here. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game, and we're on Desert Rats map. My opponent's using England, I'm using Russia for this game. And I observed my last replay against this player, and it's taken me long enough because it's like the fourth game I've had, but I noticed specific patterns with the way they expand and the way they start. So I thought I'd try and head off some of their usual routine and take advantage of it, you know, because it's the same map, same engineers that aren't reusable. So if you intercept an engineer, it's more costly because they can only take one oil derrick, so you need to make sure you do, because a normal engineer that's reusable, you can take multiple oil derricks, whereas these guys, they only take one. You need to make sure you can make use of them. So my opponent sent one this way, and I noticed he starts with engineers, so I sent these guys to intercept this oil derrick's engineer. I did send guys over this way to go and have a look, but the two engineers are going to make it here, and I don't think I tried to attack these. I went to investigate the base instead. And I haven't trained my own engineers yet. Let's just have a look at the cash situation. I'm out of credits, and here we go. There's the first engineer trained, and it's there you go. He placed a base defense straight away, so I had to get away from that. He's in low power, but he's repairing it. That was odd. A few shots. There we go. Look, yeah, now he's recovered. But it's, you know, I didn't lose too many troops. A few moments of low power. I'll take it. So I should have these, there's the engineer there, the second one that I'm using to capture this. And I've left these units to secure the oil derrick. There's this guy here in case an engineer moves this way. But I sent these guys to have a look at these oil derricks, but with the rifles they're not going to do much damage, so there wasn't much use to placing them there. I just wanted to go and have a look, cause a bit of harassment, distract the enemy, and then spread out a few of the rifles. Let's have a look at our early army values. My opponent's slightly ahead. He's at 2,500. I've just caught up. Yeah, I've got my two oil derricks. My opponent's got his two. A grenadier or a rocket soldier would have been very, very useful. It would have meant that these guys would have been a threat. As it stands, he can just send a few rifles and destroy them, especially as the view range will notice them. Let's see. Yes, he can see them anyway. I didn't think about hiding them from view range before I did anything. Now he's starting to move out, and he's got scout vehicles, and one thing I forgot when I placed my war factory, I didn't build a scout vehicle, and I didn't build ore trucks. When I realised this, I thought, whoops, that might be a problem. Like, I'm training another engineer to capture this one, while I check that the enemy hasn't taken that. And these still aren't doing anything. And I've just started to attack and send a rifle elsewhere, but these guys turned up immediately. And I've got a rifle here on hold fire, so it's not attacking the engineer. I mean, it's not attacking the ore truck, so he's not giving himself away. Now, the enemy will be able to see him on the map if he looks, but he's not having his attention drawn to it. The colour, red, makes them stand out. They, when they're green and stuff like that, or light colours, they blend in far more effectively. But red stands out. But I know that he builds up this way. So I was constantly trying to think about a way of attacking, but until I get vehicles I can't, and that's what made me realise what was going on. So now I'm building my MCV. So that's left me at a severe disadvantage. Let's have a look at the economy situation. I've got 3, my opponent's got 4. Right. I'm guessing that's another ore truck he's building. Yes, it is. So he'll have 5 very soon, and I've got 3. But I've built my MCV, I'm sending it this way where my units are. I was tempted to send it straight here, but he would have destroyed it, look. Let's have a look at this initial army values. 7,400 to my opponent, 6,100, 200 to me. So my opponent's ahead, and he's got far superior view range from these rangers. Plus, he's got a couple of light tanks. I haven't got any combat vehicles because of my mistake at the start. I don't have my APC, no option of a Grendrop, although a Grendrop here, he'd be able to destroy the power plant before they stopped them. But here we go, he had to send them away because he knows I've got enough units there to destroy them. Machine guns couldn't destroy them. And he's capturing his third oil derrick now. And repairing his rangers. They are very quick. They can zip about the map really nicely, rangers can. And here's my first tank rolled out. My army value is 8,400 and my opponent's at 7,900. So, you know, I would have a larger army if things had gone as normal. Look, I'm at a 10 grand army value, my opponent's at 8,700. So, you know, even with my mistake, I'm still ahead, thankfully. My opponent's got 6 ore trucks, I've got 4, and we've both got 3 oil derricks. My opponent's earned slightly more, but we've spent the same, but he's got slightly more in assets. So have a look at the combat tab. My opponent's ahead, and now I've just caught up. We've got 11 grand each in army value, but this helicopter, that's like 1,350. So when you see groups of air units, the army value is a little lower than it appears the more air units they have. Then again, it's still army value, it's still units, they're still effective. You just have to, they're vulnerable in some ways, you have to make sure you use air units in the right situation, and this guy's doing very well. He's not off somewhere attacking, he's actually using them for view range for his troops, which is perfect. But I saw units and knew I was in trouble, but I just didn't know the amount. Look, he can see what he needs to, he's firing, and I fell back here because I know he's got artillery. I can't just rush in. It's not an option, so I attacked here instead. At the same time, and look, I revealed all this and thought, oh dear, this is not good. But this attack is doing very nicely. I did send a heavy tank with them, it's been destroyed. Unless I've called him back, I don't know, maybe I called it back. But these guys are running, because I can't take that on and try and take out the artillery with my tanks, they won't make it. So I've got 4, and now look, a base defence, and a base defence with infantry behind it means these guys are doomed. I wanted to go for the power plant, and look, here's my push, the tanks are going in, crushed a few guys, and that's it, I've lost all my tanks, and now my opponent's got a larger group of infantry and 3 artillery pieces. This is a bad situation. My opponent has got a 10 grand army value, I've got a 2 grand army. I'm in big trouble. His MCV's in the middle of the map. I'm in big trouble here. He's bringing an MCV, he's got 2 air units, artillery, he can stand off and blast me. So I have to do something, I can't let him just like keep attacking. I've got 1 tank, 1 just built, so I'm targeting these artillery. Got to. And his helicopters are trimming off my rocket soldiers very nicely. And he wants to finish that tank off. Yeah, you see he's picking off my rocket troops so he can just sit there. This one should be reloading. There's rocket soldier firing. Oh, and it's got away. Yes, just. That's nice, that. Nice. I don't mind. It was, he got away, he did a good job. That he killed a lot of stuff, provided that view range, and he's building up a fair few air units. I'm at 6 grand, my opponent's at 8. So he's let that advantage in our army value slip away. He should have backed off with his artillery and replaced the screening units, rather than pressing on with artillery. But I'm building flak trucks because they're like a cheap answer to air units and artillery. Because obviously they're anti-aircraft, but they're nippy and that, and they can zip around the map and go behind the enemy and pick off artillery while they're advancing and stuff, because artillery often lags behind. but it often gets into a war between air units and these flak trucks, and the helicopters, Black Hawks, are lethal, and yaks. But he's revealed all this because he's got his air units, look, and that's a good option for air units. He's destroying my power plants, look. I'm not in low power yet, and I've got a lot more power than I need. So I built an anti-aircraft defence, and it shot him down. Goodbye. One of them escaped, though. I thought, yeah, nicely done. I thought I'd got them all. I didn't see that one, and when I played it, I thought... I knew there was 3, but for some reason it was just, you know... I didn't see it properly when it was fleeing, and I'm keeping these flak trucks at the back and advancing, bringing more tanks in. And here we go. This is an important push. Got to take out this artillery, and army values 9 to 8, no 8 each in my favour. It's 8 each basically now, and I'm pressing on with my tanks, but I don't want to overcommit and lose, so I'm using their mobility and armour just to back off and get away. And he actually splattered a lot of those. They were killed in that moment of chaos. So that was interesting. You've got to be careful of artillery strikes hitting your own men and stuff while they're firing at tanks, and I'm amongst his infantry. It'd be interesting for me to watch that bit back. And I've got AA defences in the form of flak trucks and SAM sites, so if he wants any more helicopters, they'll be done for. He's got anti-aircraft defences himself, but I've only just built an airfield. And I sent these flak trucks down here to have a look, see what's going on. So I decided to like cause a bit of harassment and distract some of his units. He could have picked off an artillery piece then. And then, you know, attack. Got a nice hit. Can he dodge? Very nice. These things are real nippy. They just avoid like shells and bullets and rockets. They're excellent. And I'm capturing this, so I've got the chokehold in effect. And he's called it. I've got my infiltrations and all that, and the engineer's resetting his capture bar. Now, I didn't see Tanya in this replay, but he used her because I used my flak trucks and tanks to target her. So at the point I moved down here and then retreated, I think that's when I killed Tanya. So it should be on screen. Should, fingers crossed. But sorry that I didn't actually mention it and point her out in game. It must have been a brief appearance. But there's the chokehold working. Thief, engineer, another thief. You know, he didn't have cash, I don't think, but oh, he did, look. I might have earned a bit. I might have earned a little bit, look, out of infiltrations then, in that case. But we've got the army graph, and look at that. My opponent's got a superior army most of the way. And even after combat started, he's got a better army, and it's only at this last point where it switches. Now, there was a point where I was at about a 2 grand army to an 8. So there was a point where he had a massive advantage over me. And this attack that he launched here, he attacked in the same place. And the thing is, he's got a solid foundation and place to retreat to and place to defend from in the centre. So he's got very sound tactics. It's not easy. It's not easy playing against him, to be fair. You know, I'm using Russia, my best faction. If I used allies, it might be a different matter. And I have lost before in the past. And just not for these recent games. But there's the army graph. Look at that. It shows you it was a good battle, a good fight, where we're fighting and still building up forces. And I like the way this player uses so many different units and tech assets, and he does it early. He has artillery, helicopters, Tanya as early as possible. It's nice to see, and it's good to play against that kind of opponent, because I don't get often, I don't get practice against that, against Tanya's and against, artillery and helicopters used so well and so early in the game. It's not common that happens, for that to happen. So it's nice to get the practice in this situation, because this player obviously fights in a defensive manner. Even when he attacks, he's using standoff forces to shell my bases. He only pressed his attack when he won, basically. I just held back units enough and managed to survive just. But, you know, he had me pretty much beaten at one point when I was down to 2 grand army value. Like I say, it was a good game. Not a long game this time, but a good one. And I was focused on trying to specifically defeat him, and I watched his build order and stuff last time. So he would have been slowed as well right from the start by losing an engineer or two and stuff, and the harassment here and there. It would have had an effect. But me forgetting to build a scout vehicle and 2 ore trucks, that may have balanced out any of that, or more so. So I was kind of lucky I survived. But there's the army graph. It's a good one. And here's the earnings graph. And my opponent was doing better. It was just after 6.5 minutes, he was not. And I carried on doing well and increasing economy, strength and value. My finishing army, that looks like it's about 9 heavy tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. 2 flak trucks, 2 thieves, an engineer, only a few rocket soldiers and a few rifle infantry. But I said in my last post, the tanks are the important things to finish these games. When you get a chance and an opportunity, tanks to overrun and get amongst his base and finish an opponent, that's what does the job. You know, and always try and finish a game with standard units anyway, which tanks are. It's just sometimes you need to alter the ratio, so you're making tanks more than infantry. That's why you have to have at least 2 war factories as soon as possible. And I don't even know if I built up to 7 barracks. Purposefully, I didn't, on purpose, because I was trying to save build time. I've only got 4 barracks even now, which means all the infantry I'm producing are building more slowly. So that will affect my army value and ability to replace losses big time. You need 7 barracks, but I made other choices. I've got my radar dome and SAM sites early. I knew I needed them. And I went for a specific build. These guys, look, are actually harvesting the gems in the middle. Interesting. Due for an eco transfer. But there's the army tab for you as well. Combat graph. My opponent killed 181 units. I killed 92. Very nice. And my opponent lost 6 structures. I lost 9. And I've got 14,000 army value left. And my opponent destroyed 37,000 of my assets. 37,000 in credits value. I destroyed 38,000 of their assets. So it was very close in what we destroyed. But being the attacker, you suffer more losses. You know, it's just how it is. Like I said in my previous post, you shed more pixels in attack than in defeat. Oh, than in defense, sorry. Yeah, you shed more pixels in attack than defense. It's just how it is. The defender's advantage. Now, my support powers are in effect because I've got an airfield there. Now, I did delay it slightly from after building the radar dome, but I wanted to, like I've been mentioning, I need to place it as soon as possible. And I'm not building air units. I didn't intend to build them. I couldn't afford it. But just to get the support powers counting down. Production... tech centre. I'm building a tech centre. That's crazy because I haven't got the cash for it, and I haven't got let's see, no, I've got 6 grand, so I probably have, but I didn't think so after how hard up I was with my eco mistake. But then again, that's what I went for this specific build for. I actually didn't build my 7 barracks because I was saving build time for the tech, so that's why I'm building a tech centre so early. I wanted to, and you see, I haven't even really started mining this properly. I've just got my first refinery set up there and 1 ore truck. So that was going to fund my mammoth tanks and stuff like that. And all that sort of thing. Tesla troopers and things. That's why I was building the tech centre. And it was this specific way I wanted to play the game where, you know, I was with those interruptions early on, attacking his engineers and stuff and trying to attack here. It was just targeting his specific build. Right, the eco tab, my opponent earned 61,000, I earned 83,000. I've got 7 ore trucks left and 3 oil derricks. I've got 6 grand, my opponent's got 2.5. So let's have a look. Basics. My opponent was at 49 actions per minute, so he gave nearly 50 orders a minute. That's an order every 1.1 seconds, roughly. Now I'm at 29 actions per minute. That's about standard for me. So there you go. There's your basics and graphs and charts for you. I hope you enjoyed the game. If you like what you saw, give us a sub and a like. And take good care of yourselves. Until next time, goodbye.
Battle control terminated.